Before we begin, make sure you're comfortable, dim the lights, and if you enjoy slow burn psychological mystery stories, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to PillowTaleTime for more immersive night storytelling. Now, let's begin. It started with a sound so ordinary I almost ignored it, a vibration, soft, brief. 11:47 p.m., my room was quiet except for the ceiling fan turning lazily above me. The glow of my laptop screen had just faded to black. I had been watching videos I barely paid attention to. The vibration came again. I reached for my phone without thinking, and then I stopped. The caller ID didn't say unknown. It didn't say private number. It said my full name, exactly as I saved myself in my own contacts. Below it, my number, digit for digit, perfectly correct. My first reaction wasn't fear, it was confusion, maybe some kind of SIM error, maybe my phone bugged out. It rang again, my thumb hovered over accept. Something in my chest tightened, I declined it, the ringing stopped, the room felt quieter than before, heavier. Then the screen lit up again, voicemail received, from me. I didn't listen immediately, I don't know why, maybe part of me already knew this wasn't normal. The next morning, sunlight coming through the curtains, everything felt ridiculous, less scary, more explainable. I pressed play, there was breathing first, close to the microphone, then, my voice, if you're hearing this. Good. That means you didn't answer. The tone wasn't dramatic, it was tired, measured, like someone explaining something inevitable. Listen carefully. He doesn't see you yet. Static filled the speaker, then a faint metallic sound in the background, like a door handle turning, then the message ended. I replayed it 3 times, I checked the metadata, recorded, 11:47 p.m., duration, 14 seconds, but my outgoing call log was empty, I had not made that call. 3 days later, at 11:46 p.m., I was already staring at my phone, waiting. The room felt colder. 11:47, it rang, my name, my number. This time, I answered, silence, then breathing, then, you answered. The voice was mine, but older, more controlled. You shouldn't have. Who are you? I whispered. There was a pause long enough for me to hear my own heartbeat. I'm what's left. The call ended. The next morning, something small had changed, the crack in my bedroom ceiling. It had been there for years, thin, like a lightning bolt. It was gone, not patched, not painted over, gone. I told myself maybe I imagined it, until something bigger changed. A message thread between me and my cousin, months of conversation, photos, plans, gone, and when I asked him about it later, he said we hadn't spoken in almost a year, but I remembered it, clearly. That's when fear began to replace confusion. Every 3 days, exactly 11:47 p.m., each time, the voice sounded slightly more urgent, and after every call, reality shifted, small things at first, then bigger, street names changed, the teacher from my past apparently never worked at my school, my childhood dog, according to family photos, we never had one, except I remembered her name, her bark, the way she slept near the door. I started writing things down in a notebook, because I was afraid my memories would be rewritten. My reflection in the dark screen moved half a second slower than I did, barely noticeable, but enough, when I said, hello. My reflection's mouth opened a fraction later, the voice replied, you're starting to desync. My stomach dropped. What does that mean? It means he's close. The next shift wasn't small, it wasn't a missing crack in the ceiling, it was time itself. I remember sitting at my desk at 10:32 p.m., I was writing in the notebook I had started keeping, documenting every change. I blinked, just blinked. And suddenly it was 11:48 p.m., my phone was in my hand, call screen active, midnight duration, like it had just ended, but I didn't remember answering, or hearing it ring. The notebook in front of me had a new sentence written at the bottom of the page, in my handwriting, but shakier. He can pause you now. My chest tightened. There are few things more terrifying than losing control of your own time. The next call came exactly 3 nights later. This time, the voice spoke immediately. You're noticing the gaps. Yes, I whispered. Good. That means you're still aware. Aware of what? There was static. Then, he can't enter unless you're aligned. Aligned with what? Your other selves. The line crackled again. 11:47 isn't random. It's overlap. My mind struggled to process that. Overlap of what? All of us. The call ended. 2 days later, something impossible happened. I came home from school, unlocked my apartment door, stepped inside, and froze. The layout was mirrored. My couch was on the opposite wall, the kitchen counter had different scratches, the air smelled slightly different, but the furniture was mine, the photos were mine. The notebook was on the desk, but when I flipped it open, the pages were filled, not just with my recent entries, but months of notes, carefully written observations about the calls, about the hunter. About failed attempts, about rules. One page read, Rule 1, never let him see you at 11:47. Another, Rule 2, if reflection delays exceed 1 second, it's too late. My hands trembled. This wasn't my handwriting from today, it was older, more confident, like someone who had been S. I turned slowly, and saw him, me, standing near the hallway, same height, same face, but thinner, exhausted, eyes shadowed. He looked like someone who hadn't slept in weeks. We stared at each other, no shock, no screaming, just recognition. You crossed, he said calmly. I don't know how. You never do. His voice was identical to the one from the phone. You're the one calling me. He nodded, for now. For now. His jaw tightened, until you become me. A chill ran through me. How many of us are there? He hesitated. Not many anymore. He explained everything slowly. There were once dozens of versions, small timeline splits, minor differences, different choices, different futures, but something began moving between them. It wasn't human, it wasn't alive in the way we understood, it attached itself to overlap points, moments when timelines synchronized, like 11:47 p.m. every 3 days, when reality thinned, when it finds one of us. He said quietly, that timeline collapses. And the rest? They feel the shift. I thought about the missing people, the erased memories, the disappearing dog. He wasn't just hunting versions of me, he was collapsing entire realities. We stood facing each other in the dim apartment. Check the reflection, he said. We both turned toward the dark television screen. 2 reflections stared back, but something was wrong. Mine blinked, his didn't. His reflection was frozen, watching. Then it slowly smiled, a smile neither of us made. My double inhaled sharply. He's here. The lights flickered, the air grew heavy, and for the first time, I felt it, a presence, behind the reflection, not behind us, behind the glass. The room began to glitch, walls flickered between layouts, the couch shifted positions, the smell of the air changed rapidly, 2 apartments overlapping, 2 realities trying to occupy the same space. He's forcing alignment, my double said. Why? Because if we sync fully. He didn't finish, he didn't have to. I understood, if we became perfectly aligned, the hunter could step through. Only one of us can stay stable, he said. What do you mean? If two versions occupy the same overlap point too long, it strengthens the breach. My pulse pounded in my ears. So what happens? One of us has to desync permanently. And how do you do that? He looked at me with tired eyes. You answer the call when it rings. My stomach dropped, and the other? He didn't answer, he didn't need to. The clock on the wall flickered, 11:46 p.m., the room trembled faintly, my phone buzzed, so did his, both screens lit up, caller ID on mine, me, on his, me, 2 calls, 2 versions, 1 moment, the reflections behind us began to move independently, the smiles widening, the air pressure increased, my double looked at me and whispered, whatever happens, don't look behind you when it crosses. The clock changed, 11:47, both phones rang. Both phones rang, identical vibration, identical tone, my double looked at me with an expression I had never seen on my own face before, acceptance. Answer, he said, which one? Yours. The reflections behind us began to move independently now, mine tilted its head, his reflection stepped backward, though he had not moved, the air felt thick, like breathing through water, I answered. I expected my own voice, instead, there was silence, then something layered beneath it, not a voice, not exactly, more like sound shaped into meaning, you are aligned. The words didn't enter through my ears, they pressed directly into my thoughts. Across the room, my double stiffened, he was hearing it too, the reflection behind him began to step forward inside the glass, its smile widening unnaturally, you created the overlap, the voice continued, you fractured willingly. My double whispered, it's lying. But the voice continued calmly, you called yourself. Memories flooded me, not mine, other versions, moments of panic, desperation, experiments, I saw flashes, a version of me studying quantum theories late at night, another version building an app to test synchronized call loops, another version deliberately dialing his own number at 11:47 to see what would happen during a temporal glitch caused by network overlap. It wasn't random. We had been searching, trying to prove that reality had seams. And one of us, found one. The hunter wasn't a creature that entered, it was something that responded, to instability, to awareness, to fracture. My double grabbed my shoulder, we opened it, he said hoarsely. The reflection stepped out of the television screen, not shattering it, not breaking it, simply stepping forward as if the glass had depth. It wasn't tall like I imagined, it wasn't monstrous, it looked like me, perfectly, but smooth, too smooth, no blinking, no subtle muscle movements, just stillness. Its voice was mine, but empty. You divided. It took one step closer, and division attracts collapse. My double moved in front of me, you can't have both, he said. The hunter tilted its head, correct. The apartment began flickering violently, 2 layouts merging rapidly, walls phasing, furniture overlapping, my vision blurred, the hunter raised its hand, and suddenly, my double froze, mid-breath, mid-movement, paused. I tried to move toward him, I couldn't, my limbs felt delayed, like commands were reaching me late. You are desynchronizing, the hunter said calmly. When awareness peaks, stability drops. You're killing us, I managed. No, it replied, you are consolidating. Images flashed through my mind, every missing person, every erased memory, every vanishing timeline. They weren't destroyed violently, they were compressed, merged, absorbed into fewer stable outcomes. The hunter wasn't feeding, it was simplifying. Too many versions of one consciousness destabilized reality, so it reduced them, one by one, until only one remained, a stable line, a single thread. My double forced his mouth open. With visible effort, he whispered, "You can choose which thread survives." The clock flickered violently, 11:47 blinking rapidly. The hunter turned toward me. "You initiated first fracture." My mind raced. First fracture? Not this week, not recently. Earlier, years ago, a memory surfaced. When I was younger, curious about glitches, I once scheduled my phone to auto-call itself at exactly 11:47 p.m., just to see what would happen if two network signals overlapped. I laughed when nothing happened, but something had. A seam had been tested. The hunter continued, "You are anchor." My double looked at me, realization filling his tired eyes. "You were the original." The apartment was barely holding form now. The hunter extended its hand toward my double. "If anchor remains divided, collapse continues." My double shook his head slowly, then he looked at me. "You have to let me go." "I can't." "You don't understand," he said gently. "I'm already unstable." The hunter's voice echoed softly, "One thread." My double took a step backward, toward the flickering wall. "I've been calling you for weeks," he said. "Trying to make you remember." The wall behind him dissolved into static, end the loop. And he stepped into it. The moment he vanished, everything stopped. The apartment stabilized, single layout, single timeline. The hunter turned toward me. We stood alone. It studied me carefully. "You are singular." The clock changed, 11:48 p.m., the hunter's edges began to blur, stability restored. And then, it was gone. Days passed, no calls, no missing memories, no glitches, everything felt solid again, but something inside me had changed. I remembered things I never lived, fragments of other versions, faint impressions, warnings, sacrifices, and one truth: the hunter wasn't evil, it was balance. 3 weeks later, I was lying in bed, calm, stable, 11:46 p.m., my chest tightened, the air paused, 11:47, my phone lit up, caller ID, my name, my number, but this time, I understood, I answered. On the other end, I heard breathing, young, confused, "Hello." The voice said, "It was me, earlier, before everything, before awareness, before fracture." I closed my eyes, and said gently, "If you're hearing this, good. That means you didn't answer." Silence filled the room. The loop wasn't punishment, it was protection. Each time a version became too aware, the cycle reset, a new anchor, a new warning, to prevent reality from splitting too far. I wasn't being hunted, I was being stabilized. Now, sometimes at night, I feel it, that thin place in the air, the overlap, and when the phone rings, I answer, calmly, because I know what to say, because I am the voice now, because someone has to keep the thread singular, and somewhere, another version of me is staring at his screen, heart racing, wondering why his own number is calling, and I whisper gently, "You're still safe." If you made it all the way through, thank you for listening. Tell me in the comments, would you break the loop, or protect it? And if you enjoy deep, cinematic mystery stories like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to PillowTaleTime for more immersive night storytelling every week. Until next time, if your phone rings at 11:47, listen carefully.